Hello everyone on the channel. Today there will be a continuation of the Manhwa stepmother and her friends. In the last part, we managed to watch until the moment where the Josei came to the gym, which she sent off a couple of days ago. We begin. At the moment when he came, she thought about him, but when he entered her office, she did not show it and at first did not understand why he came to her. She hoped that he came to her to confess that he could not forget her and wanted to play with her. But he said to her, "It was, of course, good, but I don't know. I can't understand what you want at that moment. I thought I could do it one more time with you, but the way you looked at me with such cold eyes. I want to say that I'm sorry if I offended you. I'll go." But after what she heard, she did not understand at all what had just happened to her. She remained in a stupor, and when he went outside and sat on a bench, he began to think about her. He thought that she would be glad to see him and that he will succeed. But when he met with the Yuna, she was very cold towards him. After he left, she got angry with herself and said, "I'm a fool." Nunjo was something to answer him, and I wanted it so much. Your arrival, you only increased my desire, stupid boy. God, what did I expect from this inexperienced boy? In any case, but it won't come anymore. You just need to forget about it and go for a drink. After that, she was going to leave the gym, and when she was about to leave, all the men in this gym were looking at her. Most of these men went to this hall for the sake of seeing her. She was waiting for the elevator and kept thinking about Sukwu. But when the elevator opened, she met an annoying client there who really wanted to go on a date with her. He was persistent and tried to play with her. But she wanted to stop him because she was just acting out and was very sensitive to everything. He found out her weak point and used it, so she could not say anything. She thought that maybe someone could help her out now. When I understood that no one was around, she was about to hit him. But out of nowhere, Sukwu appeared, who shouted at this annoying man to get away from her. He immediately attacked this man and tried to push him away from Yuni. But when he grabbed his hand, this man realized that Sukwu was a complete weakling. He was able to push him away and was about to continue attacking before saying, "You appeared so suddenly," and pretended to be cool. But in the end, you don't know anything. But Yuna had him and destroyed him. This man couldn't do anything else. He just fell to the ground and lay there. Sukwu thought it was a very dangerous situation for Yuna, but Yuna at that moment was only worried about Sukwu because she noticed that he got hurt. The man pushed him away, so when he fell on his elbow, he accidentally scratched himself. Yuna was very worried, so she made him go up to her office and let her treat his wound. When they went up to her office and she began to treat his wound, she said to Sukwu, "If it hurts, hold on, you're a man. By the way, why is a person like you who is always in his room and doesn't come out, suddenly he decides to fight someone?" Then he answered her, "Well, I just thought that you were in danger, so I did it. But it doesn't look like that. I thought he would hit you. You destroyed him first with her attack. That was your game with him. I was such an idiot, right?" Then Yuna realized that he misunderstood everything and was very embarrassed. She tried to justify herself and told him, "What? A game? Usually I was not with guys like him." But at that moment, he found my weak spot. When he heard this, he thought to himself, "Wait, I saw in her video that the place where her tattoo is located is the sensitive point." She was going to send him home saying that his mother would be worried, but he suddenly decided to play with her. He asked her if he could do something, and after that, he immediately used this place. She pretended not to want anything, but in fact, even in her eyes, one could read that she wanted to completely master him. He continued to play with her, and at one point she admitted that she wanted it. Then he could not understand what he now needed to do, but he could no longer tolerate it. Then Yuna asked him to kiss her. He said that he would do it on the condition that she agreed to play with him, and he also asked her a question. He asked her about those videos under the pseudonym Yuna. He was very interested in whether she was that woman who filmed those walkthroughs in the video game. But she continued to pretend that she did not understand what he was asking her about. Then he decided to interrupt the whole process of the game and took out his phone. He decided to show her her video, in which she talked about her tattoo. At that moment, she was very embarrassed and thought to herself, "God, what should I do now? Can I just deny it? Or should I confess? No. If I tell him that, he will definitely think that I am a bad girl." Then she answered him, "How many times do I have to tell you that I'm not her? I'm not the girl in the video. If you're going to keep saying that, then you better go home." After these words, he got up and was going to go home, but Yuna stopped him. She thought that he didn't like her at all. Then he told her, "Well, I don't even know. The girl that I really like is the one in this video. I really like her here if she was you, but alas, it's not, so I'm leaving. Sad that it's not you. Bye. Our first round together will remain in my memories forever. See you soon, Yuna. I'll miss you, I guess." She was very worried at that moment, but at the same time, Sukwu's stepmother was talking on the phone with his father. During the conversation, it became clear that his stepmother was going to go to him. Yuna didn't want to lose touch with Sukwu again, so she decided to confess. She told him he was right, but he pretended not to hear, so asked her to repeat it. But instead, she kissed him, and then ask him not to pretend. Instead, she asked him to be rough with her in this game. Then they started to play. He told her what she should do and she obeyed him. His mother was getting closer and closer. She really wanted to see how her son trained with her girlfriend, but at that moment, they were completely alone in a closed gym and played. They played for a very long time and they really liked it, but after the game, he decided to ask Yuna why she made these videos. She almost told him about it, but they suddenly heard the sound of the door opening. They were very worried, so they quickly gathered after the game. It was Seokwoo's mom. At first, she thought that their training was over because the gym was completely empty, but after that, they left the office of Yuni. She was overjoyed when she saw her son there. She noticed that he was sweaty all over, so she thought he was working hard, but then she noticed that his eyes were not on her but on Yuni. She noticed that they were both nervous, so she became alert and asked them what they were doing in that room. Yuna didn't know what to say to her friend, but Seokwoo said that they were doing an exercise sequence. They allegedly talked about how many sets and in what sequence do the exercises. Yuna confirmed this, and after that, his stepmom decided to join them, so she went to change into her gym uniform. Yuna and Seokwoo had no choice but to play along with her and do exercises with her, but Yuna calmed Seokwoo by saying that he had talent in everything. But at that moment, she represented him in her games. From imagination alone, she was inflamed with the desire to do it as soon as possible. She thought at that moment to herself, he is very good. Although a beginner, but he lacks strength and stamina, I can use this as an excuse and say that I will now train him properly. A couple of minutes later, his stepmother came out. She prepared for sports. They started doing stretches, and 10 minutes later, they were done. The next exercise would be squats. Yuna told her friend to take the usual 40 kilograms barbell, and Seokwoo told him to do regular squats. That he was very indignant that his stepmother would do squats with such weight, and he would do nothing. Yuna said to him, "Of course it will. Do you think it is possible for a beginner, just like that, without preparation, to lift a 40 kilograms barbell normally? How many years have you been sitting in your house doing nothing? Don't be a fool, we will start with normal squats, I know what I'm doing." After saying that, Seokwoo thought in his mind, my stepmother will lift 40 kilograms. My pride won't let me just put up with it like that. He got very angry, so he told her that he could lift this barbell. The next morning, after these exercises, his whole body hurt very badly. He thought to himself, hell, I should have listened to her. She knows about it. I never thought it would be so difficult to lift this thin twig. I can't believe I'm weaker than my mother. I think that's why I couldn't protect her at that moment. And yet there's nothing wrong with getting started in the right way, right? That's why this shit happened. Next time I'll do the exercise properly. But suddenly when he jerked, his back hurt. So he sat down on the ground and started looking at the phone. At that moment he thought to himself, I wonder why my stepmother and other girls film these walkthroughs, and yet this sports all the forces took away. Maybe to make money, or were they threatened by someone? He was watching their video when suddenly his mother's friend came in. It was Yumi. She wanted to tell Seokwoo something. Due to the fact that she suddenly entered the room, he did not have time to turn off video. He wanted to quickly turn off this video from his phone because it was too loud, and suddenly Yumi stopped in front of him. He thought she heard, but she only thought where she should sit. He then got scared and thought to himself, this woman seemed to me to be a very close friend for his stepmother. When my stepmom finds out that I have these videos on my mobile, in the worst case, I will be kicked out of the house. What should I do? But then she sat down in a chair. She sat down and he noticed that her dress was short. When he realized this, his expression changed. Yumi noticed this, so she asked him why this happened. He said that this is all because he just woke up. She started talking to him and suddenly noticed something. She said that she had something hidden under the covers. It embarrassed him a lot, but he was able to hide the toy dot, and then she realized that it was all because of her dress. He became even more embarrassed after that, but when she tried to correct the situation only got worse. At that moment, Seokwoo thought to himself, she is completely different from the woman that I have seen. If Megan had a strong character, then she is completely different. This attitude when you don't worry about anything, even in such situations, this woman must be just a complete fool, well, or very naive. When she finally corrected the situation and sat down, he asked her why she came to him. Then she said, actually, while I was on the phone with Chaeyoung, she told me about what happened. She told me that you trained yesterday with Mayan, right? The truth is that I have a situation, like you and your mother. I have a son your age who was born by my husband and his first wife. Maybe I'm just not experienced in being a mother. Besides, my husband is constantly busy and my son tells me that he will leave the room once or twice a week. So I feel like I'm getting more and more distant from my son, and lately he doesn't even leave his room. But yesterday I heard that you were studying with your mother and I was very jealous. I'm here to ask you how it happened that you decided to leave the room. Maybe you've had a good reason for all this. After hearing that, he thought, the reason why we did this together in the gym. There is a reason, but she obviously does not like it. I can't talk to her about it even if she wants to know. Yumi suddenly interrupted his thoughts and said, I want to do so many things with my son, but I can't. When I was younger, I had dreamed to take a walk with your children. Mother and son are walking together. This made me very excited. So when I heard that I have a son, I was so happy. I couldn't help but rejoice then. Sukwu, can you do me a favor? The next day after that, Yumi and Siwoo went to a hotel together. Last night when she asked him to comply with her request, she said she wanted to go on a date. He couldn't believe that she asked him for this favor. They were walking together, and Yumi asked him if he had any suggestions, but he said that he didn't have any yet. Yumi realized that he hadn't even thought of a plan of action and was very upset. So Siwoo apologized to her, but she only joked that she was upset. Yumi said, "As I said, I can't get along with my son. Do you want to see his picture?" After that, she showed a blurry photo. Yumi continued to say, "Actually, it's hard for me to get along with him. That's why I can't ask him for a normal picture. So I tried to take a picture of him so he wouldn't notice, but I couldn't. It just made things worse, Anyway, I thought, what if I go on a date with you? Then maybe I can understand guys your age a little better, don't you think? So what should we do now?" And she suddenly had an idea. She wanted to cut his hair. He thought to himself at that moment, what should I do? I would say that she does not have any malicious intent now. She looks like such an innocent girl. When I was a child, there were only people who wanted to use me. I feel like she's the complete opposite of these people. She's kind of like a cute little dog. Are my stepmother's friends really all that weird? While he was thinking about this, Yumi was talking on the phone. She was a little upset after talking, so Siwoo asked her what happened to her. It turns out that the beauty salon was full, and she couldn't do anything about it. Then, Siwoo told her that they can go to another place. The moment he came to that place, he thought to himself, "When I said that we can go to another place, I didn't mean it. I was thinking of going to another beauty salon, but this is a fucking hotel. If earlier I thought that there was something strange in her, now I can say with confidence that she is a very strange woman." She returned to him and they went to the 20th floor. It turned out that Yumi was now in the position of general manager in this hotel. She borrowed one of the available rooms because she was the general manager. After he found out about this, he thought to himself, "Is she the general manager of such a hotel? Is she richer than my family?" He sat down on a chair and then she began to cut his hair while singing a song. She said to Siwoo, "It's much better if you leave a long bang. My son also has long bangs. I want to cut his hair, but it's hard to talk to him. I'm glad you seem to be getting along with your mother. She's very nice, isn't she? What kind of food does she cook the most?" But he ignored her questions because at that moment he thought about it. "I've been feeling this since I met her. This woman, she lives in her own world. Although she is strange, she seems to be a good person." After she cut his hair, he looked very good. She was going to wash his hair. But when he wanted to get up and follow her, he slipped, and because of this, Yumi got wet. Being in a situation where Yumi was very close to him, he couldn't help but start kissing her, but she quickly bounced off him. Then he began to apologize and said that he did it without thinking. But Yumi didn't get angry. She said, "You can't do it, and it turns out to be a bad boy." After these words, they instantly moved to the game room. They were about to start playing, but at that moment, Mom called Siwoo. Yumi answered the call. At that moment, Siwoo was very scared that they would be discovered now, but Yumi did not say anything, but only pretended that Siwoo was washing now after the haircut. While talking to his mother, she continued to play with him. He could not leave it like that because his male pride was hurt. He decided to take control of the game and began to control the situation. They started to play, but he got tired very quickly and finished, although his joystick was still working, so Yumi ignored it and continued to play with him. She continued to play with him for a long time until the second round came to an end, but this was not the end of the whole game because there was another round ahead, and maybe more. They wanted to continue playing, but suddenly something went wrong. Siwoo suddenly fell on the bed. Then Yumi decided that she would continue to play by herself. After she played 5 times, Siwoo was still able to return home. He was completely exhausted. The next day, his whole body ached. At that time, Yuna was very worried about him, because yesterday